The world has changed. Since the release of ChatGPT at the end of 2022, the way we consume information, write emails, debug code, write essays, find directions, and plan our daily lives has transformed. We truly are in the new age. Our new norm has evolved to include phrases like, "Just ask ChatGPT," as part of the modern lexicon in the same way Google it currently is. But what does this entail? What are the consequences? Our trust in AI to explain and clarify things at a moment's notice is definitely something to pause and reflect on. It was only 3 to 5 years ago that the main method of obtaining information was to Google it. If you wanted answers to miscellaneous day-to-day life questions, random facts, current news, or if it was for a research assignment or university paper, where you would need to dig through many articles or existing papers and then summarize your findings. But now it is all too common to use ChatGPT, whether that be solely or otherwise, to complete this work for you. In the modern day, we may still engage in many of these old practices, but the urge to use ChatGPT, or an equivalent large language model, or LLM for short, to summarize and do most of the work for us is all too prevalent. Many just rely solely on the answers it produces as fact, and now even if you want to Google a topic or question, you're first provided with Google's own AI breakdown on that topic. I myself have trusted in these explanations for quick answers. However, our trust in these results is something we need to consider. You may have encountered times where an AI-generated answer was completely wrong, but it sounded convincing. One can imagine what this does to both the newer generations, who will grow up with this new technology as the standard, and the older generations, who are less technologically inclined or experienced. This presents a critical problem that is becoming more and more apparent. As we utilize these new powerful AI tools to find answers and generate solutions, the less we engage our own cognitive faculties and critical thinking skills. We are essentially becoming dumber. And additionally, the more we trust these answers as a matter of fact without double checking, the more susceptible we are to falsehoods and false beliefs. One could point to a point in history, such as the adoption of the digital calculator over conventional calculation tables, as a moment where we might have felt as a society that our mental faculties and critical thinking skills were at risk. And admittedly, this may be true to some extent. Being an engineer myself, I've completed several maths courses, but if you ask me to compute by hand some basic arithmetic using multiplication or long division, I wouldn't be very good at it. But it could be said that this concern was misplaced, as we merely diverted our attention and energy to higher order thinking and harder problems, using the digital calculator as an efficient tool to offload a lot of the menial cognitive labor. However, something seems critically different with this new leap. It's as if we're entering a new technological revolution, and we've been left with no room to breathe on how to best regulate and control its implementation. From ChatGPT's first launch until today, we've had a tool that could write emails to be as complex as you'd like, give you detailed explanations of almost any topic, plan a holiday for you with as much detail and suggestions as you'd like. It could generate entire novels or essays with a few prompts. It could troubleshoot PC errors, software glitches, and even car problems. It could write code from scratch or improve your own code with detailed commentary. It could give legal advice, financial advice. It could give breakdowns of current events or history. It can generate PowerPoint presentations or Excel spreadsheets. It could even write research papers. It can write and edit entire news articles. We even have AI tools that can generate entire songs in any style you'd like, whether that was jazz, rock, or metal, with any subject matter. And of course, we can generate detailed images using mere prompts. We now even have complex video generators. ChatGPT and other AI tools can already do so much, and we can only estimate that they will get faster, more versatile. This will open up even more avenues and productivity gains. However, we should be thinking about two things. The first is that as we offload these cognitively laborious tasks, we need to be aware of the skills we are conceding and losing to AI. The sheer act of allowing an AI tool to do all the work for you can result in a decreased ability to perform without it. Recently, in a study from MIT, the researchers had 3 groups of students write an essay. The first group was to use exclusively AI, like ChatGPT. The second group was to use search engines only, and then the third group was to use just their own brains. They found that the first group, who used AI only, had noticeably decreased brainwave activation compared to the other 2 groups. And more strikingly, they found that when they got the first group to perform the task in the same conditions as the third group, that is, using their brain only, that they performed significantly worse compared to the original group that just used their brains. This implies that by using AI to complete the task, it had a considerable effect on their performance without it. We must be more cautious and strategize new methods to combat these effects. The second major thing to think about is that as we automate a lot of the cognitive labor away, we will reduce the demand for skilled workers in those fields. And perhaps worst case scenario, eliminate the human demand in that sector entirely. Who needs a travel agent to plan? Who needs a large IT team? Who needs editors or proofreaders when AI can just do it all for you? The adoption of the calculator allowed us to focus on more complex problems. But if the harder problems can also be addressed by AI, how will society cope with this new change? While the wide-scale adoption of AI can carry a certain doom and gloom, it does not mean there is nothing to be done, and that we must nihilistically embrace an inevitable mass redundancy of human labour. On a personal level, we can apply simple habits to mitigate many of the initial challenges that face us. 3 quick methods are as follows. 1. When you're seeking information and typing a question into Google or an LLM directly, make sure to double check the answer it produces. While you may find it to be true, and this exercise pointless, this is an important step in gathering information. Treat it as though you are reading one news story or an article on a topic, and then seek out sources that factually align. For the particularly lazy, myself included, try asking whatever AI you're using. Then take a minute or 2 to read the Wikipedia article. If you wish to have higher confidence in your knowledge and research, seek out high quality sources after that. Take the time to process the information you're learning. Try common study methods, such as active recall. You could even use ChatGPT to produce practice questions for you. But just keep in mind, you may read something and even understand it, but this does not mean you will retain it or ingrain it. The second method would be to figure out ways to integrate AI into your workflow so that you can use it productively, creatively, or otherwise, in a way that enhances your work and allows you greater capacity to complete your role. For example, if you're a teacher writing out a lesson plan, you could ask ChatGPT to generate a skeleton framework for your lesson. But I'd recommend fine-tuning that through either more prompts or manually editing it yourself. By engaging with the task using the tools and assistant, this will fire up your cognitive faculties and mitigate some of the offloading problems caused by relying on AI too much. This method could look very different for every occupation and is only a quick recommendation. The third method would be to take up a creative hobby or outlet that does not involve AI. It could be playing music, arts and crafts, knitting, crochet, gardening, or working on your car. Challenge yourself to improve on this hobby without assistance from AI. Some of you may have hobbies that utilize AI, and that's fine, but just try to find something that intellectually engages you without too much cognitive offload. This will bulwark your mind against a lot of the risks mentioned earlier. On a societal level, what will be important is education, adaptation, and regulation. The new world of LLMs and AI integration is coming at us in full force. If you work in engineering, accounting, or software, you will have undoubtedly felt its effects. The laws of countries and regulations are slow to be created, and many politicians today grew up in a world where the internet did not exist. If we wish society as a whole to be better prepared for the sweeping changes to lifestyle and the job sector, it is important to be calm, educated, and strategic about what ideas or solutions to implement. A potential solution comes from Andrew Yang, a 2020 Democratic presidential candidate, whose key message was the adoption of Universal Basic Income, or UBI. The idea is that a baseline income should be implemented across the country in an effort to mitigate the economic displacement caused by the increasing adoption of autonomous trucks. He campaigned on the idea that many truck drivers, a profession that according to this source stands at 3.54 million as of September 2025, will be left jobless in the coming decades, and that this will be a broader trend across America in a range of different occupations. While Yang's campaign was short-lived, he raised awareness on this topic, and more broadly the advent of AI into our daily lives. His message came seemingly a little too early, as ChatGPT came onto the scene only at the end of 2022. But now it seems like his message is becoming more and more relevant by the day. What we did not expect is that large swaths of the creative-based sectors would be consumed and saturated first. Now you have a whole range of AI artists, AI music, and now even AI-generated videos. Some believe that the quality of life improvements brought on through the use of AI will usher in a new utopia where every need, every injustice, and inefficiency is addressed and rectified. While the possibilities may indeed be endless, it needs to be said that large technological shifts in society need to be tempered by intelligent national policies and regulations, led by informed and educated people. The future is built on the actions of today. By implementing solid guardrails and regulation for this emerging technology, we will steady the ship of society as we sail into unknown waters.